This show furnished by Karl Gerber and Employment Lawyer Group.
Talk Radio 790 KABC. You are listening to the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber, a real workplace lawyer, and I suspect that you must have ears. So what we're going to talk about tonight is we have a lot of people in the workforce right now. We have 155 million people in this country in the workforce, if you can believe that. We do have a low unemployment rate now. Guess what? 15.5 million of those workers are on call. And there are even more on call who are misclassified as independent contractors. I would say another 6 million. 21.5% of our American workers are on call. Many of them are hospital employees, nurses in the operating rooms, engineering, people in the oil fields, telecommunication workers, emergency rescue. These are the people who make the country run and ensure your life and safety. But plumbers are also on call, right? And I'm sure you've probably lived in a house in the last year that needed to call a plumber, and that person was probably on call. The problem is most workers are not paid at least minimum wage or their normal hourly rate to be on call. And if the employer is caught in this situation, it's a very costly labor violation. I've written quite a few articles about on-call laws the last couple years, and I did a class action last year, one the year before, and every year I do quite a few on-call cases. So please don't take this as a representation or guarantee of my legal services, but I will say that these cases have been large. One was $800,000, $450,000, $300,000 for on-call, $200,000. $180,000 for one person. I told you that these are big labor violations. Imagine having no life, not being able to leave the immediate vicinity of your house, not being able to make social plans because your employer has got you on call. You're on restricted on call. This is time waiting to be called by your employer, a phone call that is going to come into your phone. And it can't come into your phone if you're in a theater and there's going to be a loud ring or there's bad reception. It's a call that has to be answered when it comes in. You might have a 20-minute response time to come to your employer or their client, maybe 2 hours, even 4 hours if you've got to drive 120 miles to go see the client or you have to pick up equipment first. Assuming you really don't care about on-call workers, you may want to listen to this show because it's going to be entertaining, as usual, not quite as weird as some of the episodes that you can hear on workplacelawyer.org if you'd like to hear old episodes, and you need to because there's some continuity in these. But the Los Angeles real estate market, it's up 7.8 to 10% this year, depending on what zip code. Maybe you want to hear the show and listen to how the high-end real estate market works and what goes into selling a mansion. Remember, Karl Gerber, workplace lawyer, is a real lawyer and a real writer. So tonight we're going to take you into the world of the high-end real estate market to get you into this concept of on-call pay and reporting pay. You're going to meet Rosa Santos Rosenstein, who is a real estate assistant to the great Lisa Glickman, who pulled herself up from largely being raised by a single mother, an old-time NoHo. This is a woman who unquestionably skated at Laurel Plaza, and she was part of the roller gang on and off the ice. As an adult, she married a nebbish husband who cheated on her and left her homeless. She now is a serious businesswoman who achieves perfection for her clients at all costs, all hours of the day and night. So I do have Rosa Santos with me tonight, and I'm looking at her, and I'm noticing that her hands are underneath the table. Rosa, you know, usually if you leave your hands underneath the table and there's going to be a legal conversation, that means you might be a liar. So I do want to say that I want you to tell me about your legal problems with Lisa Glickman, even though I created her for a book I wrote in the 2006-07 time frame called Does This Make My Butt Look Big?
Sorry about my hands. My nails are sort of embarrassing.
Now that Rosa's hands are above the table, I can see her left nail is painted on the left hand. It's a nice apricot cheating for the summer. I represented a male Navan, of course, a couple years back, so I know my colors. My word, though, Rosa, your right hand, the nails are not done. No color.
Lisa called me. I had to leave before they did my other hand.
You were okay answering your phone when your nails were being done?
Well, I am right-handed.
What happened when Lisa called?
There was going to be a second showing in Royal Oaks in half an hour. I had to leave the salon.
I take it that Rosa is a real estate assistant, and I'm wondering why she had to leave the nail salon before her other hand got done.
Lisa was at yoga and didn't have the codes for Woodvale. You know the street. That is Royal Oaks, you know?
Yes, Woodvale I am familiar with in Encino, and I hope your listing was gated. Couldn't you just give Lisa the codes to get in?
You really think Lisa Glickman would come to a showing in a former celebrity-owned home in her Lululemon sweatpants? The girl is all about Badgley Mishka, all nice pleated pants, 2-button blazers.
Does Lisa call you often and get you to come into work?
Only 100 times a day.
Do you have a set schedule?
I am available for brokers' opens on Tuesdays and Fridays, and Sunday is all day.
Is most of your work on call?
Why do you think my phone's always vibrating in my butt?
Again, this is Karl Gerber, Workplace Lawyer Show. We're talking to Rosa, who is a real estate assistant to a fictional character I created many years ago. So, Rosa, I was meaning to ask you, since I haven't really dealt with Lisa Glickman since 2007, is her butt looking big these days?
Not in the Lemon Lulus.
What's it like being a real estate assistant for the great Lisa Glickman?
Well, it's pretty prestigious, you know. She's got all the big listings in Encino, Royal Oaks, Amstoy, the Longridge Estates in Sherman Oaks by your office, a bunch of stuff in Mulholland Corridor, all those mansions in Mulholland Estates.
Yes, the Mulholland Estates. Those were developed by Alfred Mann, and they're the only homes on the north side of Mulholland, actually in Sherman Oaks, but somehow they're rigged with the 90210 zip code. I believe now that's home to Miss Jenner. Tyler Perry, I read, sold. Last week I read about that. But a real realtor did that deal, not Lisa Glickman. It was former home to so many others in that community. Paris Hilton, Charlie Sheen, but none have the kind of lots in that development that I would waste my time with. They're not private enough, and they're too close to the street for 8-digit digs.
Lisa Glickman is pretty important.
The last time we got into important stuff on the show, it was the most important man in Sun Valley.
I know who that is.
Oh, no. Why does everyone know him?
First of all, because you created him based upon a call you got in 1994, and second, my husband works for him.
This is the man who was on the previous show. If you weren't listening, maybe you should. But please don't tell me your husband's a cosplay actor in the porno business.
Phew, Mr. Karl. Shame on you. He and Remus Helms make educational videos.
Hopefully not about sex.
I think they did a sex ed video for junior high school students, but it's mostly stuff like when you know you are bullied, always be your own friend, driver's ed, those things.
We get a lot of calls every week from employees who are bullied. Unfortunately, in general, bullying doesn't really get into a civil lawsuit. Maybe workers' comp, but if the bullying is about race or disability, that may actually be racial harassment or disability harassment. But let's get back to Lisa Glickman. How long does she give you to respond to a call?
Do you mean how long do I have to answer my phone, or how long do I have to show up for her?
Let's start with answering her phone.
Once I was in the shower washing my hair. I didn't answer fast enough. Lisa left a whole bunch of snarky messages for me before I got out.
were you disciplined for not answering that phone fast enough?
Imagine Lisa Glickman breaking glass with her voice. No, more like insulting everybody in the village, but not doing it by name. I can't explain good. Let me tell it to you like this. Now I am hoping my new phone is really good waterproof.
It sounds like you have to answer a phone call from your employer immediately.
Lisa says now that she is some age she won't say, she doesn't have time to wait.
How fast do you have to show up when you get one of these calls?
Here, I'll show you.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, Rosa is going to show us something, but I think that's going to have to be talked about when we come back because it's pretty shocking. This is a pretty shocking example of an employee who's working on call and has to report to her employer immediately. So please call my office if you have a labor situation at 877-525-0700. Once again, 877-525-0700. That's 877-525-0700 for Karl Gerber, the real labor lawyer.
And the people in the houses all went to the university where they...
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
Are you enjoying restful nights and radiant days? If you need help getting that quality sleep your body depends on, Quantum Nutrition Labs has 2 key supplements that help manage an overactive mind and promote deep, restful REM sleep: Melatonin PG and Quantum Sleep. For a limited time, buy 2 bottles and get the 3rd one free. Relax and rest. Call 888-588-7578. That's 888-588-7578. Or visit us online at qnlabs.com. That's qnlabs.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bob Marshall, PhD, host of Healthline. Tune in to get your questions answered and hear the latest breakthrough information for you and your family. Our product line, Quantum Nutrition Labs, delivers what others only promise: nutrition that really works.
Since 1993, the Employment Lawyers Group has been a consistent force in fighting for the rights of California employees. They've represented thousands of employees in cases in which they've lost their jobs, been sexually harassed, discriminated against at work, or owed wages individually or as a group such as a class action. The Employment Lawyers Group has maintained a high win rate and a serious record before the California courts. Please call 877-525-0700 for an experienced work lawyer. That's 877-525-0700. They have call takers standing by. Online, research the firm at worklawyerca.com. They have offices throughout Southern California. If you hire the Employment Lawyers Group, your legal problem becomes theirs to solve.
Talk Radio 790 KABC, Karl Gerber, Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber, a real California lawyer. This show is heard every Sunday from 7 to 8 on this station. And it might be a good idea to start going back and listening to some of the back episodes that are quite funny and relate to perhaps the present episode. Before we broke, we were talking about on-call pay, workers that are waiting because their employer may call them. They're on call, but they don't necessarily get paid to sit and be on call, and their life is restricted. And so tonight we have on the show Rosa Santos And she is a fictional character who is a real estate assistant to the infamous Lisa Glickman. And it sounds to me like this real estate stuff is going on in the Encino, Sherman Oaks, Mulholland Corridor area. And there's some very high-end homes. Now, Rosa, before we broke, was going to give me a real-life example of how fast she has to answer these calls when she's on call. And she was wearing a knitted slochie, I think that's what they call them, and so I couldn't see her hair. But when she took off the head covering, I can see that the left side of her hair is a beautiful black pearl, but the right side is a flaming red ombre, and I suppose there's a story behind this two-tone, or is this just some kind of millennial thing, Rosa, like ending every sentence with the word perfect?
Okay, so here's the story. I go to my salon super early on Sunday, figuring Lisa won't need me. 7 a.m. She won't be up. The fundraiser for Maddie's Rich People's High School was the night before. Of course, the Perfection team was a huge sponsor. We were there handing out Burke Williams gift cards in our silver-leafed Perfection team envelopes. All of us, all 7 agents, and the rest of the team, like me and the real estate assistants. Anyway, we were there. I wake up the next morning. We're listing some old ranch home in Amsoil. I guess I shouldn't make it sound like just any old place. There's 5 acres left in Amsoil. The widow was much younger than the old cowboy actor she was married to. She finally died at 102. Anyway, Lisa decides there will be a Western barbecue for the first Sunday open. Some developer is just going to buy it anyway and carve 20 half-acre lots and get in the 5s for each new house, maybe more. Anyway, a tractor-trailer backs into the driveway. More of a road in this case. You know, the kind of tractor-trailer that falls into Teamster Category 8 with 2549 cubic yard and dump. I mean, people get paid $57 an hour to drive these things.
I actually represent some of them now. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, well, then you know, they're huge.
It's quite a long tractor-trailer, and I imagine there must have been a lot of hay in there.
Yes, the end dumps hundreds of bales of hay onto the front of the driveway and leaves. Of course, nobody can get in or out. Lisa's diamond silver AMG 63 is trapped in there. The damn car costs more than a judge makes. So Lisa is working out in her Lemon Lulu's and Tap Chloe Kai platform Esperils, all open, when she's got a new $200 pedicure and hay is making red marks all over her toes. She's pitching these big bales of hay, almost as tall as her, getting them out of the way. What am I supposed to do? Tell her, sorry, lady, I'm not coming to your rescue, even though I'm walking out of the salon with half head dyed.
That's a pretty dramatic example of someone responding to their employer's on-call call. How fast does Lisa expect you to report?
Immediate.
The time spent waiting to be called should be paid at minimum wage, and I'm arguing in a lot of these cases that it should be paid at your actual hourly rate under Business and Professions Code 17200. If you restrict it during the time you're waiting to be called by your employer, they should be paying for that.
Look at me. Why else would I look like this?
It is a little unusual with the one hand that has one color nails and then the hair
right?
that is one color because your employer called you for some important real estate business, I guess. So I would say that it's a good thing, Rosa, you weren't getting a tattoo and you had to run out and help Lisa before the tat was done.
Actually, that happened to a guy who worked for her. I am serious.
That's some pretty hardcore response time there for an on-call call. I've got a case right now with nurses, and they have a 20-minute response time to get into the hospital when they're on call. And that really restricts them because 20 minutes, you can't be too far from your employer. I've had cases with 2 hours that I succeeded on, a 2-hour response time once that employer has the on-call call. And I've had ones that are longer, too, if they've got to pick up parts. But it sounds in your case that your employer is expecting you, Rosa, to come in just immediately.
I can't leave the area between Lake Balboa and Studio City. When I first started with Lisa, I lived in Santa Monica. It took me 2 hours to get to Long Ridge in Sherman Oaks one day. Lisa almost fired me, but she felt bad because when I showed up, the antifreeze was pouring out of my 2005 Jetta. The thing overheated, sitting in traffic trying to get to the 405.
Did you move for this job you have, Rosa?
I sort of wanted to move out of Santa Monica anyway. I got run over by some guy about my husband's age, 32, maybe. He had a beard that hung down 6 inches below his chin, a real square beard, feathered on the sides. He was an idiot.
This sounds terrible. Were you hurt?
It was just an e-scooter, and he was riding drunk. Obviously, that's how I broke my last phone.
So did you know that there are more tourists that go to that 3rd Street Promenade area in Santa Monica every year than Disneyland?
No, I didn't know that. But I was okay moving anyway because I wanted to move in with my then boyfriend, who's now my husband. But if it wasn't for my job, we probably would have rented a house in Northridge. But Lake Balboa is close enough to Encino and most of the listings.
We're listening to Karl Gerber, workplace lawyer. Tonight our episode involves real estate. We have a real estate assistant who works for the infamous Lisa Glickman, who I created in a book back in 2007. We're talking about an employee who has to report immediately to her employer. And another factor in on-call and whether it needs to be compensated for, that time waiting to be called for the employer, is geographic restrictions. They're a factor in just how controlled one is for controlled standby. And we've just heard that Rosa had to move very close to where the listings were going to be. So besides these geographic restrictions, are there any other restrictions you have?
I don't drink anymore.
Well, congratulations.
I can't. I can't drink and then drive to my job.
I had a controlled standby case recently where my client, an older man, testified it was his goal and his wife's goal to be drinking as much as possible when he wasn't at work, and being on call really interfered with that lifestyle. But this really happened. This is not part of a script. But seriously, the inability to drink when on controlled standby, that is a really big thing for a lot of the employees that are on controlled standby when they're waiting. And that goes to whether it's restrictive for them. If it's restrictive, then they need to be compensated.
I try not to get too involved in things because I could be called to work at any time. Just to be fair to Lisa, I know she had a tough life living at the Call's apartments and everything, but she has a good side to her.
I always suspected that she thought the left side of her face looked better than the right side, but after all these years, maybe she's matured.
Well, a vacancy came up in one of her rental properties. It was a nice little old 2-bedroom house on Valley Vista. She since knocked it down after I declined the offer because I was going to move into the place of my then boyfriend, now husband. Lisa offered to rent me the house for just a $450 rent credit against my wages. She normally got $3,250 a month for it. Everybody complained that it didn't have a dishwasher or garbage disposal. Actually, I don't think anything had been done to it after it was built in 1941.
There are laws about how much an employer can charge as a rent credit. Luckily, $450 a month for one person is a legal rent credit against wages or period. But I have a feeling Lisa had a few tricks up her Bagley Mishkas. There is one fairly recent wrongfully decided appellate case that holds that if you're in the hospitality industry, which would include property rentals, you don't have to be paid for the time spent on controlled standby if you live on the premise of your employer. So this sounds like a way that employers are going to get people to work constantly and be on call and never be able to leave their apartments on the basis that somehow they're getting a rent credit. So I'm concerned that may be a ulterior motive of Rosa's employer for what was going on. But I don't think that in this scenario with Rosa there would be a problem because she's being sent to places that are not the address that she works at. She's being sent all over the Encino and Sherman Oaks area to go attend to these homes that her boss seems to have listings for or whatever, but it does seem that Lisa Glickman, who's a bit crafty there, she was raised by a single mother, an old-time NoHo before converting and marrying her loser husband. She may have had some misconceived notion that if she gave this rental to Rosa, she could get Rosa to work for her day and night and be on call and not have to pay her. That does concern me.
Oh, I guess. I never thought of it that way. You know, my husband never suggested that I change my religion.
Yeah, that's good. Your husband sounds like a real stand-up guy there making educational videos and all. I will hold it against him that his boss is Remus Helms, maybe, or definitely the most important man in Sun Valley, but also the oddest. Are there times of the day you're not called into work? And I want to come back to that when we come back, but please, again, for real labor lawyer Karl Gerber, 877-525-0700. I'd like to talk to you off air about your labor problem. Please call our office, 877-525-0700. Once again, 877-525-0700.
And they came out all the same. And this doctor.
Let there be light. Now you can sync your lighting to your activities with Philips Hue Smart Lighting. Match your lights to your music and match light colors with your favorite team colors while watching a game. Set your home to glow as you approach and set lighting to gently wake you up and lull you to sleep. Hue lets you control color, brightness, and timing, all through your smartphone. Look for Philips Hue Smart Lighting and the white and color ambiance kit at the Home Depot. Visit homedepot.com/lighting for details. The Home Depot, more saving, more doing.
A smart home is really all about home automation, putting together the right smart devices, smart electronics, appliances, and gadgets, and programming them to do what you want automatically. And if you've been planning to get started on a project to make your home smarter, it's actually easier to do now than ever before. Even if you're a total newbie to smart home technology, the Home Depot can help you find the right solution to make your home smarter and more connected. For more information, visit HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
Hey, what's going on around your house? Need a little help? A second opinion? Well, I'm here to help answer any questions you have about your home. All you have to do is call. Join me, Lou Manfredini, every Saturday morning from 8 to 9 a.m. on House Smarts Radio, right here on Talk Radio 790 KABC.
Should judges be elected or appointed? Should judges be unbiased politically? And should a judge be removed simply because you disagree with one of their decisions? This weekend on Champions of Justice, Tom Girardi talks with a Superior Court judge about the hottest issues facing the judiciary that affect your access to justice. Tune in Champions of Justice, Saturday morning at 11 and Sunday night at 10 here on Talk Radio 790 KABC.
Talk Radio 790 KABC News Update. I'm Steve Cumming. Silver and burgundy are the official colors of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, but members of the school community use the color orange and other symbols to make statements without raising their voices at today's graduation. Orange is a recurring motif in the fight for stricter gun control, inspired by the color that hunters wear to protect themselves. The National Guard airlifted 3 people to safety today as lava from Hawaii's Kilauea volcano threatened an isolated area where they had become trapped. Nearly 500 quakes have rattled the summit of Kilauea in the past 24 hours. And Guatemala's Fuego volcano erupted today for the second time this year, leaving at least 7 people dead and 20 injured. The volcanic eruption spewed a river of red-hot lava and belched thick clouds of smoke nearly 6 miles into the air. The volcano is one of Central America's most active. It's located near the colonial city of Antigua. KABC SoCal weather, low clouds and fog tonight with lows in the mid-50s to around 60. More news coming up and continuous coverage on KABC.com. I'm Steve Cumming, Talk Radio 790 KABC News.
Since 1993, the Employment Lawyers Group has been a results-oriented law firm whose goal is to get the client what they deserve. They've represented thousands of California employees who've lost their jobs, been sexually harassed, subjected to employment discrimination, or were owed wages on an individualized or group basis, such as a class action. They have a high rate of success. There are few situations involving employment law that they have not confronted. At the forefront of employee rights, they're often the first employee law firm to confront a new legal issue. For an experienced employment lawyer, call 877-525-0700. That's 877-525-0700. They have call takers standing by. Online, read more about the firm at employeelawca.com. They have offices throughout Southern California. Make your work problem theirs to solve.
Talk Radio 790 KABC. You are listening to Karl Gerber, workplace lawyer. I am still Karl Gerber, a real labor lawyer licensed in California, 3 other states. I've done a lot of cases over my years. I would appreciate it if you would give me a call at the office if you have an employment problem. I can be reached at 877-525-0700. That's 877-525-0700. Once again, 877-525-0700. There is a possibility that on this show we may be able to take live callers, so if you'd like to call the station at 800-222-5222, please do so. That's 800-222-5222. Once again, 800-222-5222. Those are all the numbers I can handle for right now. We have been talking to Rosa Santos, and she is a real estate assistant for the great Lisa Glickman, somebody I invented in the 2006 or 7 time frame for a book I wrote called Does This Make My Butt Look Big? And Lisa Glickman was the protagonist. Of course, she's a real estate maven. She's risen above her hardships in life, and she's now very successful. We've been told on the show she has 7 agents working for her, all kinds of mansions she's listing all over the area in the Sherman Oaks and Encino and the Mulholland Corridor, and we're talking about on-call pay. On-call is when the employer expects an employee to sit around, be on call, maybe they have a week, maybe they're always on call like Rosa is, and they don't pay them for that necessarily, or they pay them $6 an hour, something less than minimum wage. I read today, after nearly suffering some kind of sunstroke, I must say, in Oxnard, but I was reading a new case where it was a retail employee for a big retailer who was on call. So apparently retail employees can be on call, and a lot of times their on-call schedules can be canceled right before they're supposed to come into work, and they're not paid anything for that, and they're not paid some reporting time pay. So it's a very interesting issue, and it actually affects a lot of workers. But without saying much more, I do want to get back to my dialogue with Rosa Santos. She was telling me that she's called into work a lot of times a day, and I'm wondering, Rosa, are there times of the day you're not called into work?
No, not really. We also manage rentals, like vacation rentals, a lot of Airbnb, and those people call in any hour of the day. If an alarm goes off at 3 in the morning, we are paged. We might have to open the house if nobody is there. People lose their keys. Water pipes explode. Somebody doesn't know what the Wi-Fi code is. It's kind of endless. If it's a short-term rental, sometimes for a month or 2, somebody is making a movie. The police get called about a party or weird things going on. I have to evict the tenant for violating the lease, which is impossible because they have all this weird stuff and gear. And once a guy had an alligator. I don't know what kind of movie they were making, but a lot of them had these big fish tanks brought in or claimed there is stuff in the safe and they don't remember the code or they don't want to open the safe and show me what's in it. Probably is.
What kind of stuff is in these safes?
You probably won't believe this, but once a tenant claimed he had the original prototype mold that was infringed on. You know the mold? The thing, Remus Helms, claims he made his fortune off of.
Oh, brother. Yeah, that's the guy who was on the last episode of this show. A very personal thing of his got infringed. Oh, boy. It's unbelievable how this guy gets around, this Remus Helms. Given that you're not paid to sit around waiting for a call to get on the perfection team, why do you stick around? And better yet, why haven't you sued Lisa Glickman?
Well, several reasons. One, I might get my real estate license and word would get out. I sued Lisa Glickman and I'd be blackballed. Two, Lisa might be my broker, hold my license, and help me market in the Latino community. I met my husband through her, and he doesn't always have work.
Is your husband friends with Lisa Glickman?
Not really. Lisa sold Remus Helms the cosplay ranch in Sun Valley.
Oh, man.
I can't blame him. He only wants to be represented by the best. I heard he harassed you, even though you're not like a trademark lawyer. So clearly he has good taste. Sun Valley is way out of Lisa's comfort zone anyway, too close to where she grew up, but he demanded that she represent him. So Lisa decided it was easiest to deal with my husband. The rest of Remus's people were really too weird.
You can say that again. They've been on this show, and I had to deal with them.
They were bizarre. Some dude walking around with a pumpkin head.
Oh, I've heard about him.
A woman with a riding crop and a robot with a tail and an Easter bunny. There was an Easter bunny.
The robot and that woman were on the show.
Oh, really?
Yes.
They had a strange dynamic. But through Remus's company, my husband ended up helping Lisa with a corporate video she put on her website.
I would just comment that a lot of the employment cases I've had over years, they involve people who knew each other before the job, or there was some connection with a family member or spouse who knew someone at the company, or maybe the owner had a family member who also worked with the person who I ended up representing. The point is that there was some connection, there was some reason why they didn't want to sue. Maybe their family was working there, they knew the owner, and they probably should have called me earlier because there are things called statutes of limitations.
Well, I didn't want to cause Lisa any hardship. I mean, that's one of the reasons also.
Rosa, take a look at your nails and hair. You've got two colors on different sides of your hair because Lisa called you for one of these on-calls, and you had to go respond immediately. I think that Lisa has caused you a lot of hardship. You need to stand up for yourself and assert your rights. I have another question. Every time you report in for one of these calls that your employer does, are you paid at least 2 hours or half of the hours you normally would get in a workday?
Oh, no. Sometimes it's just in and out. If somebody wants to see a property, I have to get there immediately and check the bathtubs, jacuzzi tubs. Although now a lot of these developers put standalone tubs with feet in the middle of the room so they don't have to build a granite or soapstone surround. Saves them a good $10,000. But anyway, I have to check and make sure that all the tubs don't have any spiders or bugs in them. Lisa Glickman's selling a dream, and it's not anybody's dream to walk in and see a big spider in the tub. Sometimes I'll have to clean the toilets too and dust and straighten up a bit. A lot of these places sit for a while. The market for $6 million+ homes is smaller than you might think.
Yeah, I think it could be, but these days it does seem real estate is going up a lot more than it should. So again, this is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I am Karl Gerber. I would encourage you to call my office with a real legal problem because despite us bringing you acts that are very interesting, I am a real lawyer, and you can reach me at 877-525-0700. Once again, 877-525-0700, 877-525-0700. Thank you for listening, and we'll come back and hear more about this dynamic with the real estate assistant when we come back.
And the green one, and the blue one, and the yellow one, and they're all...
Growing your own vegetables is quicker and easier than you think. If you think big, as in big 1-gallon body veggies and herbs from the Home Depot. Right now, a special buy at 3 for just $12. They start bigger, so they produce a harvest faster. And for proven success, you can't pick better plants than Bonnie's. 1-gallon Bonnie veggies and herbs. Right now, 3 for just $12. Only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. While supplies last, selection varies by store, U.S. only.
Macy's Star Rewards program is bigger, better, and now for everyone. For the first time ever, get rewards no matter how you pay. Join as a bronze member and get Star Money Days. Earn towards Star Money and use it with no merchandise exclusions. Perks and offers. Enjoy extra savings offers at checkout, event invitations, and more, plus a birthday surprise. And as a Macy's credit card holder, silver, gold, and platinum members automatically get bronze benefits in addition to your existing ones. Macy's Star Rewards program. Sign up in-store or online. Terms and conditions apply. Visit Macys.com/StarRewards.
This show furnished by Karl Gerber and Employment Lawyer Group.
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
The Employment Lawyers Group is a results-driven law firm whose goal is to get the right result for the client. They have represented employees with a high rate of success since 1993 throughout the state of California. They're only paid and if they are able to collect money from the employer, so there's not any upfront fees or costs in order to hire them. They have represented thousands of employees who've been terminated from their jobs, sexually harassed, subjected to employment discrimination, or are owed wages in an individualized or group basis such as a class action. Call 877-525-0700. That's 877-525-0700. They have operators standing by. They can also be reached at employeelawca.com. They have offices throughout Southern California. Hire them and make your workplace problem theirs to solve.
You're listening to Talk Radio, 790 KABC, Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. We're talking to Rosa Santos, who is a real estate assistant for the fictional Lisa Glickman realtor. We're talking about real estate and also the fact that Rosa is not paid for the time she spends waiting to be called. So I have a question for her. If it only takes you, Rosa, like 20 minutes to inspect the house, maybe remove a water beetle from a cloth foot tub in some ugly new farmhouse in Encino with smooth stucco on the first floor. Let's say a metal roof that looks like a W, maybe some wood siding on the second part of the floor, just to try to make it look like something, but it's still kind of nothing. Are you paid for only 20 minutes if you're in and out that fast?
She pays me from when I get in my car.
All right, your employer has to pay you a minimum of 2 hours reporting time pay or half of the pay for your regular shift every time you're called to work, whether it's on the phone or it only involves you going in somewhere for a couple minutes.
I don't get paid for the time I spend on the phone.
I imagine with Lisa it's rather short when you're on the phone.
Not always. She can give me a lot of orders.
Can you solve any of these problems that your boss has on the phone, or do you have to go out and visit the sites?
Sometimes, but I have to stop what I am doing and make a bunch of calls. When I first started the job, I was at a Bad Bunny concert. Do you know Bad Bunny?
Yeah, I've heard it's a funny act.
Well, I was at a Bad Bunny concert. First of all, the reception was bad, but I couldn't hear anything. It took me an hour to talk to a tenant about how to use the TV. I was in the bathroom the whole time, and the concert ended. This is why I don't schedule anything. I can't. I just sit at home.
Is there any way to get another employee at the company to take your call?
Not really. I've been there longer and know more about everything and how it works. Lisa trusts me. The only time I didn't get there quick was when my car overheated and I was living in Santa Monica.
The ability to trade on-call calls is a factor in determining whether you're working restricted on calls. So if you have to trade an entire on-call rotation, that your boss will let you do, opposed to just a single call, that's going to go to whether it's restrictive and you should be paid, that ability to trade the shift.
Lisa keeps saying she's going to get more help, and then we will have 1 week on and 1 week off from being on call. She actually did hire more people, but she got more listings, and the whole Airbnb thing took off. It kept getting bigger, so there's more work and more calls.
How many hours in a day would you say you work for Lisa Glickman?
It depends. Some days only a few hours. Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday a lot of hours. A lot.
I was wondering if I could see your pay stubs, because a pay stub is like an X-ray to a wage and hour lawyer.
I can only get them online.
Well, hurry up and do it. The show's going to end. Print them out, man.
Well, here.
Okay.
I sent them. You should have them on your phone.
It's too much for a separate screenshot of each pay stub, but I'll see what I can do. Okay, paper, please. It makes life easier. I'm seeing that 1 week Rosa works 43 hours, 62 another, 37 1 week, 12 1 week.
I must have been on my honeymoon that week. Can you believe I got to spend 4 days on the beach? 4 days.
Well, that's good. Did you work at 12 hours during this time you were on your honeymoon that week?
I even took a call when we were snorkeling.
Wow. Here's how to do it, okay? I'm going to say from midnight to 8 in the morning you earn straight time. And from 8 to noon it's overtime regardless of whether you're on call or actually working, because you already worked those 8 hours on call. So the 8 to 12-hour time is going to be overtime, and then we got double time after 12 hours in a day. And it really doesn't matter if you're inspecting a bedspread for signs of life, or you're signing pages of whatever with a home stager, but by the time you hit 40 in a week, it's all overtime, even midnight to 8 a.m. And since you don't get a day off in 7, there's going to be overtime the first 8 hours of your 7th day, double time after that day. The pay stubs here are a little confusing because they're 2 hourly rates, I'm going to note.
20 an hour is travel time. 22 is spent at a house.
How many hours did you work Sunday, May 27, 2018?
Let me think. I picked up Starbucks for 3 open homes, appetizers for some of the houses, tempura cauliflower from a place in Studio City, kale burrata on Melrose, was it Melrose? Kanoachi ceviche for the new Spanish cook built. I met florists at about 5 houses, made sure the bars were set up on Blairwood. On Archdale, the owner was acting freaky and said she did not approve of the Robert Mondavi. She was old school and didn't believe in California wine. It was a long day. I say I worked from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. nonstop.
Wow. So, okay, $20 an hour is this pay for the first 7 hours at overtime. So you got some money here, but I'm going to make some calculations of how much you should be owed. I think you got $310 for that day, but I'm going to say that there needs to be some overtime here very quickly on, and the 8 a.m. to noon, $44 an hour, and $44 from noon to midnight. You should have been paid $1,047 for the day, not what you got. Oh, you got $352, it looks like. So you're owed $695 for that Sunday, and that's a Labor Code Section 226 penalty of $100 on top of that. Every pay stub that's wrong, there's a penalty in there. PAGA penalties, too, $150 for each one of those. I'm going to say that there are 3 of those in there. So we've got prejudgment interest. You're owed $945. I'm going to say that on the days you were paid, your 7 hours at $20 an hour, you're owed $968 and unpaid. Okay, so I'm going to say we've got about $67.76 a week, $6,776 that you should be paid. How long have you worked for, Lisa?
About 18 months.
Us wage and hour lawyers, we do a lot of math, sometimes in our heads. So at 78 weeks multiplied by $6,776, you're owed about $528,582. This iPhone is not working. So you're owed without prejudgment interest a lot of money. Listeners, please don't trust any on-air math.
Oh, we could buy a house with that.
Not in the neighborhoods Lisa's dealing with.
My husband and I were thinking all we would need was $100,000 for a down payment, maybe $50,000.
Have you changed your mind now about whether you're going to sue the perfection team now if you're hearing about how much you might be owed?
I have to think about it, but I might just be calling you.
It might be a conflict of interest, though, because remember, I created Lisa Glickman, and I have a vested interest in her as a character.
What's your number, anyway?
Oh, we've heard it a million times. It's 877-525-0700. That's 877-525-0700. 877-525-0700. At least on this episode, we don't have that robot repeating 0700 like we did on episode 5. So, listeners, you're actually learning a lot about labor law. I think you may or may not realize it because I'm getting some calls during the week, and you guys are giving me stuff, the hard stuff that I'm talking about, and you're saying it like you know exactly what it is. So, as strange as some of these episodes have been, and some of them have been a lot weirder than this, trust me, you're really learning a lot of law. And tonight you've learned that excessive geographic restrictions on employees' movement is a factor in determining whether they have to be paid if they're sitting around waiting for their employer to call them. The frequency of the calls goes to whether it's unduly restrictive. With Rosa, she's getting all her work from the calls. She doesn't have a set schedule, and she gets a lot of them. Whether there's a time limit for responding to the call, that also goes to whether it's restrictive. Those 20 minutes, hours, 2 hours, even 4 hours, depending on how far the drive is, can be restrictive. If you can be in Las Vegas and your employer is in Santa Monica, though, that doesn't sound that restrictive. But if you're confined to a narrow geographic area and you can't drink, which is a big thing for a lot of employees, and that's very restrictive, and it may mean you need to be on call and be paid for it. The other thing is whether you can trade the on-call responsibilities. If you can trade each shift and you just get a call from your manager and he says, can you work it? No, I can't. All right, well, thanks. I'm going to call your coworker. He calls the coworker. No discipline, nothing like that. That's not something you have to be paid for. Or if it becomes your responsibility to go call your coworkers and try to figure out who's going to work it, I think you need to be paid if you're non-exempt for that time. You're trying to find someone to go cover, but that's also a different situation. If you have to trade the whole week of on-call, I'm okay with that in taking the case because that means that you've got to just one time you can't do it, you're out for that whole on-call rotation. So another thing is whether there's some way to be dealing with these calls from home. If they can all be solved from home, it might be a different situation. But remember, if you're taking calls from home about your employer, you need to be paid for that if you're non-exempt. And if you can engage in personal activities when you have these calls and you're going about your life, it's not restrictive. But if you're like Rosa and rushing out of the nail salon when one of your hands isn't even painted yet or half of your hair isn't yet dyed because your employer calls you, that's very restrictive. That's an extreme example. And again, I think that you guys are going to remember these extreme examples because they are extreme and they're very weird. And we are getting people calling up talking about them. So I want you to keep listening to this show. It's heard every Sunday night from 7 to 8. I have concerns for business owners. I have concerns for employees who don't listen to this show because the workplace does involve a lot of laws. And even if this doesn't directly relate to you, given the fact that there are like over 20 million people in the country that are on call, it does relate to someone that is intricately involved in your life, whether it's the nurse that works in the operating room. I have some class actions for that now, or it's the technician for wireless. So please listen every Sunday night. This has been Karl Gerber, workplace lawyer. I am Karl Gerber, and I am a real lawyer, but I try to bring you these legal scenarios in an interesting way because I'm also a writer.
And the people in the houses all went to the university where they were put in boxes and they came out all the same. And there's doctors and lawyers and business executives.
This show furnished by Karl Gerber and Employment Lawyer Group. 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 Karl Gerber